Hey, so this intro is a bit different because I've actually done the work already, but basically what I did was I've put an oil pressure and temperature sensor in. So it's a 2-in-1 sensor, which is this one here. So I basically followed a 3-step process. That is, I fitted the hardware, being step 1, I ran the wiring. Step 2, I fitted the sensor and the hose into the existing port in the sandwich plate, which is an 1/8 NPT fitting. And then step 3, I set up and configured the Link G4 software to suit the new sensors or sensor. And then I tested it, and I did actually get stuck under the dash while doing this. So yeah, I guess the purpose of this shot is to show that it is actually quite tight, and it was quite uncomfortable to get the wires up under near the clutch pedal. So basically what the plan or approach is we'll put the actual hose with the sensor in the other end into this port, and we'll run it up through the up through here, and we will support it using this bolt in the timing belt cover, and then we'll have the sensor sitting out here, and we'll be able to run the wiring through the firewall and just plug it straight in. Rightio, here we are looking down at the ECU wiring, which I've previously sorted out, and the wires that you can see on screen are part of the Link G4 expansion harness, which is connected to expansion port 1 on the ECU. The red wire that I'm currently holding is actually soldered to the green sensor return wire, which has been spliced into previously to cater for other sensors, such as the ethanol content sensor. This red wire is the 5-volt supply wire, which we'll need to extend to reach the pressure / temperature sensor. And the 2 input wires I'll be using will be white and orange, white being the oil pressure and orange being oil temperature. Here I am stripping and soldering the wires. Don't judge my soldering too harshly. Turns out it's quite difficult to solder in dim light and with a camera in the way. I used a blue wire for the sensor return, with my philosophy being the neutral in mains, but primarily it was because I didn't have any green wire in 20 gauge. One thing to be mindful of is to be sure to stagger your solder joints. Rightio, so got the wiring soldered and put some sleeving over it, run it up under the thing, and well, we don't have a chance of seeing that. So we come out of our gland there, so it's this one, and then we come up under, you can't see it really, but through there and to there. Alright, so time to put our sensor in. Not going to record this either, but just going to undo the blinking bung out of there and replace it with that. We'll lose a little bit of oil doing this, but hopefully not too much, because I've had the car started up since I put that on, so yeah, there will be a little bit of oil. Alright, got the sensor plugged into the sandwich plate and run up through the rocker cover. Got plenty of clearance from the fan blades. yeah, so now I just have to pin the sensor up. Might even put the sensor datasheet up on the screen so everyone can see. So, got all the wires run through, stripped some insulation off, and put the seals on. Now it's time to crimp them up and pin them up into the plug. Alright, everything's all ran and plugged in, so I just ended up using a ladder clamp out of the timing cover fastener there, and yeah, we run our wires up underneath there, pretty close to the turbo, but hopefully we don't have any or too many issues there. Might just go over the datasheet quickly before configure the ECU. So as you can see, the relationship with voltage and pressure is linear, so that's pretty straightforward. However, the relationship with resistance and temperature is not linear, so if we graphed it, it would look something like this. So as you can see, the relationship is exponential, but there is actually a way to calculate the temperature at any given resistance, which is by using an equation called the Steinhardt equation. I'm not going to bore you any more than I already have, but fundamentally I've made this calculator which calculates the coefficients and then gives you an output temperature for an input resistance. It's not really relevant in the context of configuring the Link ECU. However, I do find it very interesting, and I will leave a link to an online calculator if I find one in the description. Alternatively, I can also do a more in-depth video on this equation if anyone should find it interesting enough to request one. Okay, so now that we've got all the hardware and stuff fitted, time to configure the software in the Link ECU. So to start with, I'll configure input 3, which is the engine oil temperature. Pretty straightforward. Select engine oil temperature, standard Bosch NTC sensor. Next, time to configure the engine oil pressure. So I did this one a little bit differently. Actually used a calibration table, calibration table 5. So when we click on that, we enter the minimum and maximum voltage and pressure. I've actually gotten that one wrong. It's actually 0.5 volt to 4.5 volts, so I'll just fix that one up quickly. Now that we've got our inputs configured, we can now add some variables into the logging menu to see if they're actually working. Now you can't actually see the window that was open then, but I was just selecting engine oil pressure and temperature by right clicking and going add digital gauge, but yeah, you can't actually see. Now all that's left to do is load the software into the car, so we can do that by using shortcut keys F2 and Control S.